Yuna stepped off the transport ship and felt her heart beat fast. The Galactic Academy was bigger than anything she had ever seen. The buildings were tall and made of strange metals that changed color in the light. Thousands of students walked around her. None of them looked human. She was the first human to ever study here. Some students stopped and stared at her. A tall creature with 4 arms whispered something to its friend. A small floating being made a sound like laughter. Yuna pretended not to notice. She kept walking. Her brother Dohon had prepared her for this moment. He was a scientist who studied alien life. Before she left Earth, he sat with her and said, "They will look down on you. Humans are new to space. They think we are simple. They think we are weak." Yuna had asked him, "Then why should I go?" Dohon smiled. "Because they need to learn who we really are." Now she walked through the academy halls, carrying her small bag. The air smelled different here, sweet and cold. The gravity was lighter than Earth, and her steps felt strange. She had to be careful not to jump too high. A helper robot guided her to the registration room. Inside, a creature made of blue light floated behind a desk. It looked at her for a long moment. "Human?" it said. The word came through her translator, but she could hear the surprise in its voice. "You are the exchange student from Earth." "Yes," Yuna said. "My name is Yuna." "We do not get many humans here," the creature said. "In fact, we have never had one before." "I know." The creature made a humming sound. "Your species only discovered faster than light travel 50 years ago. Most students here come from civilizations that have been in space for thousands of years." Yuna did not know what to say, so she simply nodded. The creature gave her a small card. "This is your room assignment. Your roommate is a villain named Temmie. Classes begin tomorrow. Do not be late." Yuna took the card and walked away. She could feel the creature watching her until she turned the corner. Her room was on the 4th floor of a large building. The door opened automatically when she touched it. Inside, she found a simple space with 2 beds, 2 desks, and a window that showed the stars. On one of the beds sat her roommate. Temmie was not what Yuna expected. She was small, about the same height as Yuna. Her skin was smooth and green, like a frog. She had large, dark eyes that blinked sideways. When she saw Yuna, she stood up quickly. "You are the human," Temmie said. "Yes, I am Yuna." Temmie tilted her head. "I have heard stories about your planet. Is it true that your world is water that falls from the sky?" Yuna almost laughed. "You mean rain?" "Yes, it happens all the time." Teenie's eyes grew wide. "Amazing. On my world, water only comes from underground rivers. The idea of water falling from above sounds very dangerous." "It is not dangerous," Yuna said. "Children play in it." Temmie made a small sound of shock. Then she sat back down. "I think I have much to learn about humans." Yuna smiled for the first time since arriving. Maybe this would not be so bad. That night, she could not sleep. The bed was comfortable, but her mind was too busy. She thought about home. She thought about her family. She wondered if she had made a mistake coming here. Her communicator buzzed. A message from Dohon. "How is it?" he asked. "Strange," she typed back. "Everyone looks at me like I'm an animal in a zoo. That will change. Give it time. What if it does not?" There was a pause. Then Dohon wrote, "Then you show them who you are. Do not hide. Do not pretend to be less than you are. Let them see the truth about Earth. Let them see the truth about humans." Yuna read the message twice. Then she put down her communicator and looked out the window at the stars. Tomorrow, classes would begin. Tomorrow, she would sit in a room full of aliens who thought she was nothing. Tomorrow, she would have to prove that humans belonged here. She did not know if she could do it, but she had to try. The next morning, Yuna woke up early. Temmie was already gone. On the desk was a small note in strange symbols. Her translator turned them into words. "Good luck on your first day. I hope it goes well." Yuna smiled. At least she had one friend. She put on her uniform, a simple gray suit that all students wore. It felt strange on her skin. Too smooth. Too light. But she did not complain. She walked to the main building where classes were held. Other students moved around her. Some were tall. Some were small. Some floated. Some crawled. All of them ignored her. She found her first classroom and went inside. The room was large and round. Seats went up like stairs, and at the bottom stood a teacher. The teacher was unlike anything Yuna had seen. Its body was made of crystal. Light moved inside it like a heartbeat. When it spoke, the sound was like music. "Welcome, students. I am Instructor Vel. This is Galactic History." Yuna found a seat near the back. She sat down and tried to look calm. Instructor Vel looked around the room. Its crystal eyes stopped on Yuna. "Ah," it said. "Our human student. How interesting." Every head in the room turned to look at her. Yuna's heart beat fast. But she did not look away. She met the instructor's gaze and nodded. "Next week," Instructor Vel said, "we will study planetary survival. Each of you will share information about your homeworld." Yuna felt a chill run down her back. Earth. They were going to talk about Earth, and she would have to tell them everything. The week passed slowly. Yuna went to her classes. She ate alone in the dining hall. She studied in her room while Temmie watched her with curious eyes. "Are you nervous?" Temmie asked one night. "About what?" "The presentation." "About your planet." Yuna looked up from her notes. "A little." Temmie sat on her bed and folded her green hands together. "I have been reading about Earth. There is not much information in our system. Just basic facts. Your planet is the third from your sun. It has one moon. It has water." "That is correct," Yuna said. "But there is something strange." Temmie's dark eyes blinked sideways. "The file says your planet has many different environments. I do not understand this. How can one planet have more than one type of land?" Yuna smiled. "You will see tomorrow." The next day, the Galactic History classroom was full. Word had spread about the human student. Everyone wanted to see what she would say about her strange little planet. Instructor Vel stood at the center of the room. The crystal being glowed brighter than usual. Even it seemed curious. "Today we begin our study of planetary survival," Vel said. "Each species here evolved on a different world. Each world shaped your bodies and your minds. Let us learn from each other." The first student to present was a tall creature with hard brown skin. It looked like a walking tree. "I am Groot of the forest world," it said. Yuna almost laughed at the name, but she stayed quiet. "My planet has one environment. Endless forest. The temperature never changes. It is always warm. It is always wet. My people have lived there for 1,000,000 years." The class made sounds of approval. A stable world. A safe world. The next student was Crix, an insectoid being with 6 legs and large black eyes. It clicked its mandibles before speaking. "My world is cold. Ice covers everything. 50,000 years ago, there was a great freeze. The temperature dropped by 10 degrees. Many of my people died. We call this the Great Suffering." The class listened with respect. Surviving a 10-degree temperature drop was impressive. Crix's species was strong. "It took us 5,000 years to recover," Crix continued. "But we survived. We are proud of this." More sounds of approval. Crix sat down, looking pleased. Other students presented their worlds. Most had one type of environment: desert, ocean, mountain. Some had 2. A few species had survived. Natural disasters, earthquakes, floods. They spoke of these events with great seriousness. Then, Instructor Vel turned to Una. "Human," it said. "Tell us about Earth." The room went quiet. Every eye, every sensor, every organ that could see turned to look at her. Una stood up. Her legs felt weak, but she remembered Dohan's words. "Do not hide. Let them see. Earth is the third planet from our sun," she began. "It is not very big. About 12,000 kilometers across." Some students made notes. "Basic information. Nothing special. We have one moon. Our day is 24 hours. Our year is 365 days. Still nothing impressive." Una could see some students losing interest. Then she took a breath. "Earth has many different environments," she said. All at the same time. Silence. A student raised its tentacle. "Can you explain?" "What do you mean by many environments?" "I mean exactly that," Una said. "On Earth, there are deserts where no rain falls for years. There are frozen lands where the ice never melts. There are forests so thick that sunlight cannot reach the ground. There are mountains so high that you cannot breathe at the top. There are oceans so deep that no light reaches the bottom." The room was completely still. "These are all on one planet?" The student asked. "Yes, all on Earth, all at the same time." Instructor Vel's crystal body flickered. "Surely your people live in only one of these areas." "The safest one." Una shook her head. "No, humans live in all of them." A gasp moved through the room. Crick stood up suddenly. "That is impossible. How can one species survive in so many different conditions? Your bodies would need to change completely." "We do not change our bodies," Una said. "We change everything else. We build shelters. We make clothing. We create tools. We adapt. But the temperature differences alone," Crick said. "You said desert and ice. The difference must be over 100 degrees. "Sometimes more," Una agreed. "In the coldest places on Earth, the temperature drops to -90 degrees. In the hottest places, it can reach over 50 degrees. That is a difference of 140 degrees. Crix sat down hard. Its black eyes were wide. "And your species survives this?" Instructor Vel asked. His voice was quiet now. "We do more than survive," Una said. "We live there. We raise families. We build cities. We thrive." The room was silent for a long moment. Then a small floating creature near the front spoke up. "What about danger? Surely some environments are safe?" Una thought about how to answer. She thought about being honest. "No," she said. "No place on Earth is completely safe." "What do you mean?" "I mean that danger is everywhere on our planet. It is normal for us. We have learned to live with it." "What kind of danger?" Instructor Vel asked. Una looked around the room. Every student was listening now. Nobody was bored. Nobody looked away. "Perhaps," she said slowly, "I should tell you about the other things that live on Earth." The room somehow got even quieter. Instructor Vel leaned forward, light pulsing inside its crystal body. "Yes, tell us about the other life forms on your world." Una nodded. She had not planned to share so much, but they wanted to know. And maybe it was time for them to understand. "On Earth," she said, "humans are not the only creatures. There are millions of other species, and many of them can kill us. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Let me tell you about them." The classroom waited. Una could feel their fear. It was strange. These beings came from across the galaxy. They had technology that humans could only dream about. And yet they were afraid of what she might say next. She began with something simple. "In our oceans, there is a creature called a shark. It is very large. Some are longer than this room. It has hundreds of teeth, and when it loses one, a new tooth grows in its place. Sharks have existed on Earth for over 400 million years. They were hunting before the dinosaurs existed. A student near the middle of the room raised a trembling limb. What are dinosaurs? Giant reptiles, Una said. They ruled Earth for over 160 million years. Some were taller than this building. They had teeth as long as my arm. They could crush bones with a single bite. Where are they now? Dead. A massive rock from space hit Earth and killed them all. The room erupted in shocked sounds. Instructor Vel raised a crystal hand for silence. Your planet was struck by an asteroid, Vel said slowly. And life continued? Yes, many things died. But many things survived, including the small mammals that would eventually become humans. Crix made a clicking sound. You are saying that your ancestors lived through a planetary extinction event? One of several, Una said. There have been 5 major extinction events on Earth. Life continued after each one. Nobody spoke. The number was too large to understand. Una continued. Let me tell you about more creatures. In our jungles, there are big cats. We call them tigers and lions. They are fast and strong. They can kill a human in seconds. In our rivers, there are crocodiles. They have not changed in over 200 million years. They are perfect killing machines. They wait under the water. You cannot see them. And then they strike. A student in the front row made a strange gurgling sound and collapsed. Its friends rushed to help it. Is it dead? Una asked, worried. No, Instructor Vel said. It has fainted. This is a stress response for its species. Please, continue. Una hesitated, but the class was still listening. They wanted to know more. There are also smaller dangers, she said. Snakes that carry poison in their teeth. Spiders that can kill with a single bite. Insects that drink blood and spread disease. Jellyfish in the ocean that can stop your heart. These small creatures can kill humans? A student asked. Yes. Every year, millions of humans are killed by small creatures. Mosquitoes alone kill over 1 million humans each year. Mosquitoes? Tiny flying insects. They drink blood. When they bite you, they can put diseases inside your body. The room was completely silent. Temmie, who had been quiet this whole time, finally spoke. And you live with all these things? Every day. Una nodded. We do not think about it much. It is just normal life. Normal, Temmie repeated. The word seemed to confuse her. Instructor Vel moved closer to Una. Let us speak about your planet itself. What is the atmosphere made of? Mostly nitrogen, Una said. About 78%. And about 21% oxygen. The room exploded in noise. Students shouted over each other. Instructor Vel had to call for silence 3 times. 21% oxygen? Crix demanded. That is extremely high. Oxygen is corrosive. It destroys metal. It feeds fire. How do you survive breathing it? Our bodies are adapted to it, Una said. We need oxygen to live. But fire, another student said. With that much oxygen, everything must burn constantly. Una paused. Fire is common on Earth, yes. Forests burn. Buildings burn. We have learned to control it. We use fire as a tool. You use fire as a tool, Instructor Vel repeated slowly. Yes, for cooking. For warmth. For making metal. Humans have used fire for over 1 million years. The crystalline instructor turned away for a moment. When it turned back, its light was dimmer. Your planet, it said, sounds like a death world. Una did not know how to respond. She had never thought of Earth that way. What do humans do for relaxation? Temmie asked suddenly. Her voice was desperate. like she was searching for something normal. What do you do for fun? Una thought about it. We swim in the oceans. We climb mountains. We explore caves. We walk through forests. The class stared at her. You said the oceans have sharks, Temmie said. Yes, and you swim there anyway. Yes, we try to be careful. The mountains, Crick said. You said you cannot breathe at the top. We bring equipment. Or we train our bodies to handle less oxygen. And the forests have predators. We stay alert. We travel in groups. Instructor Vel made a sound that might have been a laugh. Your idea of relaxation is voluntary exposure to mortal danger. Una shrugged. I never thought of it that way. We just like being outside. The room was quiet again. But this time, the silence felt different. It was not just shock anymore. There was something else in the air. Something like respect. Then Instructor Vel asked a question that changed everything. You have told us about your planet. You have told us about the creatures. But you have not told us about humans themselves. Tell me, young one, what is your history like? How did humans come to rule such a dangerous world? Una felt her stomach tighten. This was the part she had been afraid of. The creatures and the climate were one thing. But human history was something else entirely. Our history, she said slowly, is complicated. How so? She looked around the room. All these aliens with their peaceful worlds and stable civilizations. They had no idea what she was about to tell them. Humans have not always been kind to each other, she said. We have had conflicts. Instructor Vel tilted its crystal head. Conflicts? You mean disagreements? No, Una said. I mean wars. The word passed through the translators. Every being in the room heard it in their own language, and every being in the room went completely still. Wars, Instructor Vel repeated. You mean organized violence between groups of your own species? Una nodded. Yes, many times. Throughout all of our history. The classroom was silent. But this silence was different from before. This silence was heavy. This silence was afraid. Tell us, Instructor Vel said quietly. Tell us about human war. Una took a deep breath. There was no going back now. Una stood alone at the center of the room. The eyes of 100 different species watched her. She could feel their fear. But she also felt something new inside herself. Strength. Pride. Not pride in the violence, but pride in what came after. Humans have fought wars for thousands of years, she began. At first, the wars were small. 2 villages fighting over land or water. Hundreds of people with simple weapons. Sticks. Stones. Metal blades. The class listened. This was not so different from their own ancient histories. Some species had gone through similar stages. But humans are clever, Una continued. We learned. We invented. And our weapons became more powerful. She paused. In our recent history, about 80 years ago by Earth time, there was a great war. We call it World War II. It was the largest conflict in human history. How many fought in this war? Crix asked. Its voice was quiet now. Over 100 million soldiers. From countries all around the planet. Gasps filled the room. 100 million? Instructor Vel said. That is more than the entire population of most species here. Yes, Una said. And that was just the soldiers. Civilians were involved too. The whole world was affected. A student near the back raised a tentacle. How long did this war last? 6 years? And the result? Una's throat felt tight. Approximately 70 million dead. The room went completely silent. Some students stopped breathing. Others made sounds of horror that their translators could not convert. Instructor Vel's crystal body flickered. 70 million of your own kind. In 6 years. Yes. How is this possible? How can a species do this to itself and continue to exist? Una thought carefully before answering. The war was terrible. The death was terrible. But something else happened too. We saw what we were capable of. We saw the worst of ourselves. And many of us decided to change. Change how? After the war ended, the countries that won did something unusual. Instead of punishing the countries that lost, they helped them rebuild. They sent food. They sent money. They sent workers. It was called the Marshall Plan. The class looked confused. You helped your enemies? Tammy asked from her seat. Yes, we understood that if we left them broken, there would be more war, more hate, more death. So we chose to help. We chose to build instead of destroy. This is very strange, Crick said. On my world, when we defeated our enemies, we destroyed them completely. That is the natural way. Perhaps for your world, Una said. But humans learned that destruction leads to more destruction. We wanted something different. What about the weapons? Instructor Val asked. You said your weapons became more powerful. What kind of weapons? Una hesitated. This was the part that scared her most. During that war, she said slowly, humans created a new type of weapon. We split the atom. We released the energy inside matter itself. The room was silent. Then a student spoke. You achieved nuclear fission? During a war? Yes, and we used it. Twice. 2 cities were destroyed in an instant. Hundreds of thousands died. The student who had fainted before started making distress sounds. Others held their heads or covered their eyes. But here is the important thing, Una said quickly. After we used those weapons, we saw what they could do. We understood that if we continued, we would destroy ourselves. We would destroy our whole planet. And what did you do? We stopped. Not completely. We still built more weapons. Many more. But we never used them again. For 80 years, nations with the power to destroy the world have chosen not to. Instructor Vel floated closer. You have weapons that can destroy your planet, and you simply choose not to use them? Yes, it is not easy. There have been moments when we came close, but every time, we stepped back from the edge. We chose life over death. The room was quiet for a long time. Then Tammy stood up. Her green skin was pale. Her dark eyes were wet with something like tears. You are survivors, she said. Not just of your planet, not just of the creatures, but of yourselves. You survived your own darkness. Una nodded. We did. We still struggle with it. We are not perfect. We still fight. We still hurt each other. But we also help. We also heal. We also hope. How can you hope? Crix asked, after so much death. How can you trust anyone? Una thought about her grandfather, who had lived through war and still smiled at strangers. She thought about her friend Jiho, who became a doctor to help children in war zones. She thought about her grandmother Yunji, who survived terrible things and still planted flowers every spring. Because hope is all we have, she said. Without hope, we would have destroyed ourselves long ago. Hope is what keeps us going. It is what makes us human. Instructor Vel moved to the center of the room. Its crystal body glowed brighter than before. I have taught this class for 300 years, it said. I have met students from 200 species. I have never met anyone like you. Una did not know what to say. I thought humans were primitive, Vel continued. New to space, unimportant. I was wrong. The words hung in the air. You come from a death world. You are surrounded by predators. Your own history is written in blood. And yet, you stand here. You survive. You hope. You help your enemies rebuild. Vel turned to face the class. This is not weakness. This is strength beyond anything I have seen. The students looked at each other. Some nodded slowly. Others still seemed afraid. But something had changed. The way they looked at Yuna was different now. Then the door to the classroom opened. An old creature walked in. It was tall and thin, wrapped in silver robes. Its face was hidden behind a mask of metal. "Instructor Vel," it said, "I have been watching this lecture. I wish to speak with the human, privately." Yuna's heart beat fast. Instructor Vel nodded. "Of course, Elder. The lecture is finished." The Elder turned to Yuna. "Come with me, young one. The council wishes to speak with you." Yuna looked at Temmie. Her roommate gave her a small nod of encouragement. Then she followed. The Elder out of the room. She did not know what would happen next, but she was not afraid. The Elder led Yuna through long hallways. The walls were made of glass, and through them she could see stars. Thousands of stars. Each one a sun. Each sun with its own worlds. She felt very small. They arrived at a large door. It opened without a sound. Inside was a round room with a high ceiling. Seats circled the walls, and in each seat sat a different creature. These were the leaders of the Galactic Union, the Council. Yuna stepped into the center of the room. "Human," said a voice. It came from a creature made of living shadow. "We have watched your lecture. We have listened to your words. Now we have questions." "I will answer what I can," Yuna said. The shadow creature leaned forward. "Earth has been watched for a long time. When your species first discovered fire, we noticed. When you built cities, we watched. When you split the atom, we became afraid." Yuna said nothing. She waited. "We had a debate," the creature continued. "Some of us wanted to contact humanity. Others wanted to destroy you before you became a threat." The words hit Yuna like a physical blow. Destroy. They had considered destroying Earth. In the end, we did neither. We waited. We watched. We wanted to see what kind of species you were. Another council member spoke. This one looked like a plant with 100 eyes. What we saw confused us. You created weapons that could end all life on your planet. But you did not use them. You fought terrible wars. But then you helped your enemies. You live on a death world. But you smile. You laugh. You create art and music. "We do not understand," said a third member. This one was small and round, floating in the air. "How can a species so violent also be so creative? How can you carry such darkness and such light?" Yuna thought for a long moment. "I think," she said slowly, "that is exactly what makes us human." The council waited for her to continue. "On Earth, we have a word, resilience. It means the ability to recover from hard times, to be knocked down and stand up again. Humans have been knocked down many times. By our planet, by each other, by ourselves." She looked around the room at all these ancient, powerful beings. "But we always stand up. We always try again. Not because we are strong, not because we are smart, but because we refuse to give up." The shadow creature spoke again. "And what about your violence, your wars? How do we know you will not bring this chaos to the galaxy?" "You do not know," Yuna admitted. "I cannot promise that humans will always be peaceful. We are not perfect. We may never be perfect." The council members shifted uncomfortably. "But I can tell you this," Yuna continued. "Every generation of humans learns from the ones before. We teach our children about the wars. We teach them about the pain. Not to make them violent, but to help them understand. To help them choose a different path." She thought about her grandmother Yunji, how she told stories of the old times, how she cried sometimes, how she still believed in people despite everything she had seen. "My grandmother lived through terrible things," Yuna said. "She saw death. She saw cruelty. She could have become bitter. She could have given up. Instead, she planted a garden. Every spring, she grew flowers. She said that after so much destruction, she wanted to create something beautiful. The room was silent. That is humanity, Una said. We break things. We destroy. But we also build. We create. We love. We hope. You ask if we are a threat. Yes, we can be. But we can also be something else. We can be partners. We can be friends. We can bring our creativity, our resilience, our stubborn refusal to give up. The council members looked at each other. Una could not read their expressions. She did not know what they were thinking. Finally, the shadow creature spoke. We have listened. We have considered. And we have made a decision. Una held her breath. Humanity will be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Union. The words took a moment to sink in. Membership. They were accepting Earth. You are not trusted completely. The shadow creature continued. That trust must be earned over time. But you are no longer outsiders. You are part of the galactic community. Una felt tears in her eyes. She did not try to hide them. Thank you, she said. I will tell my people. We will not disappoint you. We believe you will try, said the plant creature with 100 eyes. That is enough for now. The elder who had brought her here stepped forward. You may return to your classes now. But know this, human. Today you changed history. Your species is no longer alone. Una bowed. It felt like the right thing to do. Then she turned and left the chamber. She walked back through the glass hallways. The stars seemed different now. They were not just distant lights anymore. They were neighbors. Friends waiting to be met. When she reached her dormitory, she found a crowd waiting outside. Students from the lecture. Tammy was at the front, her dark eyes wide with excitement. What happened? Tammy asked. What did the council say? Una smiled. Earth is part of the Union now. We are not outsiders anymore. The crowd erupted in noise. Some sounds were happy. Some were surprised. A few were still uncertain. But nobody looked at Una with contempt anymore. One by one, students approached her. They asked questions about Earth, about humans, about the strange, dangerous, beautiful world she came from. Una answered them all. Finally, when the crowd thinned, Temmie sat down next to her. I still cannot believe everything you told us, Temmie said. Your world sounds terrifying. It is, Una admitted. But it is also wonderful. Will you tell me more? About the oceans and the forests and the creatures? Una looked at her friend. This small green being who had been brave enough to share a room with a human. I will tell you everything, she said. But first, let me tell you about the ocean. Have you ever seen something so big that it looks like forever? Temmie shook her head. On Earth, we have oceans that cover most of our planet. When you stand at the edge and look out, you cannot see the end. It just goes on and on until the water meets the sky. Teeny's eyes went wide. Other students gathered around to listen. Una smiled and continued talking. She told them about waves crashing on shores, about whales singing in the deep, about sunsets that turned the water gold and red and purple. She told them about Earth. And for the first time in galactic history, the classroom leaned in not in fear, but in wonder. Humanity had found its place among the stars. Not through power, not through fear, but through truth and hope. And the simple, stubborn refusal to ever give up.